7 Little Johnstons, Amber Johnston talks about the end. Is the show returning? TLC's 7 Little Johnstons has provided viewers with an intimate, frequently endearing, and occasionally tumultuous glimpse into the lives of a distinctive American family for almost 10 years. The show, which revolves around Trent and Amber Johnston, the only couple in the US where both partners have achondroplasia, the most prevalent type of dwarfism, and their 5 kids, has documented everything from teenage milestones and home improvements to negotiating the challenges of independence, identity, and social perception. However, a startling statement was made to long-standing followers in early 2024. Amber Johnston said, "This is the end." This sparked a lot of conjecture. Is 7 Little Johnstons truly over? The show's loyal fan following was shaken by the statement, which was made during a promotional event and later shared on social media. The Johnston family, who provide entertainment and representation for the dwarfism community, has become a familiar sight in many people's living rooms. What did Amber mean by the end, therefore, and does this suggest that the reality show, which debuted in 2015, is coming to an end? The development of the show itself must be examined in order to comprehend the context of Amber's remark. 7 Little Johnstons started off as a quite low-key family documentary series that focused on the struggles and victories of parenting a big family with tiny individuals for each member. The story grew over the seasons to encompass the children's changing lives, Emma's growing confidence, Jonah's battles with anxiety and self-acceptance, Alex's frequently comical attempts to find his place in the world, and Elizabeth's path toward independence. The show changed from emphasizing parental advice to the intricacies of young adulthood as it grew up with its characters. The tone had changed significantly by season 9, which aired in late 2023 and early 2024. The oldest Johnston children were either living away from the family home in Forsyth, Georgia, or had moved out. Jonah had started to forge his own life outside the family bubble, while Elizabeth, the oldest, had moved to Atlanta to live with her boyfriend and pursue her profession. Children naturally grow up and go on, which was a creative challenge for a show that focused on the dynamics of a whole household living under one roof. Amber's remark about the end seems to more accurately describe this change than a final cancellation. She made it clear in interviews and social media posts after the season 9 finale that although the show's present structure may be coming to an end, the Johnston family isn't necessarily going to be completely removed from television. In a recent podcast episode, Amber clarified, "We've been doing this for almost 10 years. Our children are almost grown-ups now. Raising 5 young people in a world that was not intended for us is the story we set out to tell, and it has changed over time. After showcasing our family to the world, they are now penning their own tales." This view is in line with a larger trend in reality television, where long-running family-oriented programs eventually come to an end as the kids grow out of the main plot. When their main subjects grew up or public interest declined, shows like Here Comes Honey Boo Boo and 19 Kids and Counting either terminated or had major reboots. The change may simply be the Johnstons' realization that the original idea has reached its end, not because they are no longer interested, but rather because life has progressed. Nevertheless, TLC has not formally declared that 7 Little Johnstons would no longer air. The network, which is well known for its lineup of reality shows geared at families, has been remarkably silent. Although season 9 might be a pause or a gentle ending, industry sources say that the possibility of more iterations is still open. A holiday special, a spin-off that follows Elizabeth and Jonah as they grow up, or even a relaunch in a few years when the younger kids, Anna and Alex, are older and going through different phases of life are all possible. Amber has alluded to these ideas herself. "Never say never," she advised fans in an Instagram Q&A session. "We enjoy discussing our lives, and we'll share a fresh tale if it's worth it. But for the time being, we're letting our children work things out without constant surveillance." Recent correspondence from the Johnston family frequently emphasizes the importance of privacy and autonomy. The family seems more defensive of their kids' right to grow up out of the spotlight, at least temporarily, after being in the public view for almost 10 years. The emotional toll that prolonged involvement in reality TV can have on an individual is another factor contributing to Amber's "the end" comment. The show has given the family a sense of community, financial security, and a forum for advocacy, but it has also subjected them to harsh scrutiny, online criticism, and the loss of routine. Trent and Amber have been open about the difficulties in striking a balance between amusement and realism, particularly when discussing delicate subjects like relationships, mental health, and handicap. For instance, Jonah's plotline in Season 9 about coping with anxiety and going to treatment was handled with exceptional care, which contrasts with the more sensationalized depictions frequently found in reality TV. Yet even well-intentioned storytelling can feel invasive when it's your own life being altered for dramatic effect. Knowing that millions of people are forming impressions based on 42-minute episodes that barely catch bits of complex emotional journeys, Amber has talked about how painful it is to watch her children suffer on air. Furthermore, reality television as a whole is changing. Traditional cable networks like TLC are reassessing their programming strategies in light of the emergence of streaming platforms and shifting viewing patterns. The return on investment, audience retention, and cultural significance of long-running shows are being closely examined. Even though Seven Little Johnstons still receives high ratings, especially among its core audience of family-friendly viewers, it could not be in line with TLC's changing brand strategy, which has recently pushed toward romance dramas and true crime. Nevertheless, it is impossible to overestimate the show's cultural influence. Seven Little Johnstons, one of the few popular depictions of dwarfism in the media, has been significant in dispelling misconceptions and normalizing the lives of little people. The Johnstons, who frequently collaborate with groups like Little People of America, LPA, have utilized their position to promote inclusivity, accessibility, and self-acceptance. Amber in particular has emerged as a prominent advocate, inspiring and educating others via social media and conference speeches. The show's fans have responded to the possible conclusion with both gratitude and regret. Messages expressing gratitude to the family for their honesty, humor, and fortitude abound on social media and online forums. The Johnstons are credited by many people, particularly those in the dwarfism community, with making them feel heard and understood. One Reddit user commented, "This show saved me during my teenage years. I felt less alone when I saw a family on TV that resembled mine." It ends on a note of development and change, which is appropriate for a show that has always been about more than just amusement, if this is really the conclusion of Seven Little Johnstons as we know it. It has served as a monument to the universal joys and challenges of family life, a celebration of diversity, and a chronicle of resiliency. The Johnstons shared their humanity with the audience in addition to their house. However, once more, the end could not be definitive. Resurrections, reboots, and unexpected comebacks are nothing new to reality TV. After announcing the end of their series, the Kardashians, the Duggars, and even the Osbournes have all made several reappearances. Given the Johnston family's lasting appeal and TLC's habit to repeat successful franchises, it's certainly feasible that we haven't seen the last of them. Amber's remarks act as a pivot and a farewell for the time being. The Johnston legacy, both on and off film, endures despite the rigorous, daily documentation of family life coming to an end. Trent and Amber have created something much greater than a television program, whether it is through advocacy, public speaking, or upcoming media endeavors. They have established a movement of empowerment and visibility that will last beyond any one season or series finale. Will the Seven Little Johnstons return? Time will tell, as well as possibly some network talks. However, there is no doubt that the Johnston family's journey is far from over. It's just starting a new chapter, one that will surely continue to inspire even if it isn't shot for television. And if the cameras do return at some point, viewers will be there to greet them with open arms and the same interest and love that have sustained the program for almost 10 years. Amber Johnston discusses the end, in Seven Little Johnstons. Is the show returning? TLC's reality show Seven Little Johnstons has been providing viewers with an intimate, frequently endearing, and sometimes turbulent glimpse into the lives of the Johnston family, America's largest known family of little people, for almost 10 years. The show, which revolves around Trent and Amber Johnston and their 5 kids, Jonah, Elizabet, Anna, Emma, and Alex, has followed everything from significant life events like marriages and graduations to everyday parenting struggles and sibling rivalry. However, Amber Johnston herself shocked and moved long-standing followers in early 2024 when she posted, "The end," on social media, immediately raising questions about the future of the cherished series. Was this only a dramatic break before a new chapter, or was this really the last curtain call for 7 Little Johnstons? The show's devoted fan base was rocked by Amber's post, which included a sentimental montage of the family's old photos with the words "The End" in strong, capitalized letters. Questions, condolences, and requests for clarity were all over the comments section. Was the performance cancelled? Had the family made the decision to avoid the limelight? Or was this a publicity stunt before a network decision or season finale? Amber provided additional context in the days that followed, but she did so with some vagueness. Amber emphasized in a subsequent Instagram story that her "The End" statement only alluded to the end of season 10 production and not necessarily the series' final termination. Her voice was a mix of pride and tiredness as she continued, "We just wrapped our 10th season. Although the voyage has been amazing, it has also required a great deal of logistical, physical, and emotional labor. We're taking a breath right now. We are thankful for each moment even if we have no idea what lies ahead." The riddle was only made more complex by this careful response. The prospect of an indefinite suspension, or perhaps a complete cancellation, is both realistic and heartbreaking for a show that has endured cast changes, personal hardships, and changing family relationships. After all, change is what reality TV is all about, and the Johnstons have changed a lot since their 2015 premiere. Once preteens and early teenagers, the kids are now adults juggling relationships, professions, and independence outside of the family's Forsyth, Georgia, home. The oldest, Jonah, has worked in advocacy and music, frequently using his position to discuss representation and dwarfism. Elizabeth has started her own clothing line and established herself as a social media influencer. She is well known for her fiery personality and sense of style. More lately, Anna, the reserved and reflective middle child, has come into the public eye by talking about her struggles with self-acceptance and mental health. Emma and Alex, the youngest, have grown up on camera, with Emma developing into a self-assured young lady who loves dancing and Alex, Trent and Amber's sole biological child, the others were adopted, forging his own identity in the public eye. The show's main idea, raising 5 children with dwarfism in a world not designed for them, has inevitably changed as the kids are mostly out of the house or about to leave. The emphasis has moved from the practicalities of parenting to the difficulties of adulthood, such as dating as a child, locating affordable housing, handling money, and striking a balance between one's own goals and those of one's family. These plotlines indicate a logical conclusion to the original idea, even yet they are still captivating. In recent interviews, Amber has been open about the emotional toll of making so many details of her family's lives public. Last year, she told People magazine, "There's a fine line between sharing your story and losing your privacy. We've always made an effort to be genuine, but as the children grow older, they have their own lives and limitations. Our decision is no longer the only one." In reality TV, second-generation stars are increasingly rebelling against the cameras that captured their early years. This sentiment is consistent with a larger trend. Continuing to participate in long-running shows has caused internal conflict for many families, including the Duggars and the Roloffs. It seems that the Johnstons are no different. Elizabeth's wish for greater autonomy and less parental supervision, both on and off camera, caused problems between Amber and Elizabeth in season 9. Even though these disputes are genuine and relevant, they also indicate how difficult it is to keep up a family-centered program when the family is no longer made up of dependent children. Trent, who is frequently the show's more restrained dad, has also made references to being tired. "We never expected this to go 10 seasons, he said in a recent podcast interview. "We started this to educate others and demonstrate that small people are capable of doing anything that everyone else is, but in a different way. The mission was accomplished in many ways." His statements imply both finality and a sense of fulfillment. The door isn't quite shut, though. The 7 Little Johnstons cancellation has not been formally announced by TLC. The Johnston family continues to be one of TLC's most dependable attractions, and network executives have typically been hesitant to fire dependable ratings performers. Over 1 million people watched each episode of Season 9, which is a significant figure in the fragmented media world of today. Furthermore, limited specials or spin-offs are still an option, particularly if one or more of the adult children show an interest in carrying on their stories on their own. Amber hasn't ruled out going back. She told supporters in a live Q&A session, "Never say never. Maybe we'll come up with a fresh approach to tell the story if it feels right and everyone is on board. But we need room right now. The family might need that space to rethink their relationship with fame, with one another, and with their audience, in addition to just regrouping." In the world of reality TV, the Johnstons have always been notable for their activism and sincerity. 7 Little Johnstons has placed a higher priority on education, empathy, and everyday resilience than many shows that mainly rely on manufactured drama. They have received recognition from disability advocacy organizations and invitations to speak at conferences and educational institutions, demonstrating that their values go beyond the conventional fandom of reality TV. A major chapter in television and disability portrayal would come to an end if this is, in fact, the end of the series as we know it. There weren't many depictions of little people leading complicated, full lives in the media when the show debuted. Through straightforward, human moments, whether it was Trent modifying a car so his kids could drive, Amber navigating school meetings to ensure accessibility, or the siblings taunting one another over who got the last piece of pizza, the Johnstons helped normalize dwarfism for millions of viewers, dispelling stereotypes and promoting understanding. It is impossible to overestimate the show's cultural significance. It sparked discussions on accessibility, inclusivity, and the commonality of family difficulties in living rooms throughout America. The Johnstons have frequently been mentioned by parents of children with dwarfism as a source of community and hope. Additionally, the show served as a gentle, dependable lesson in empathy for a large number of viewers who had no personal ties to the dwarfism community. Will the 7 Little Johnstons return? The truth is that nobody knows, not even the Johnstons, at least not with certainty. Timing and marketability are just as important to reality TV as individual preference. TLC may quietly allow the series to end if viewership declines or if the family as a whole determines they have spoken everything they need to say on camera. However, a significant event, such as a wedding, a significant job change, or even a reunion special, can spark interest again and bring the cameras back. It is evident that Amber's The End was more a depiction of a family at a turning point than a definitive judgment. The Johnstons deserve the opportunity to take a break and make their own decisions about what happens next, after 10 seasons, innumerable plots, and years of being in the spotlight. It's unclear if that will involve more television, but their legacy is already assured. Amber provided a kind reminder to those lamenting the possible discontinuation of weekly episodes. Our story doesn't end just because the cameras stop rolling. Despite everything, we are still here, still arguing, still laughing, and still in love. You're also a part of our story if you've been with us this long.